The storm and the gale, every harsh word, a dagger that cuts. It sliced through the silence, breaking the ruts. No sugarcoating, no softening the blow. Had to say it, no holding back. Words like fire, igniting the track. Listen or leave it, your call tonight. Aaron's the storm, he's ready to fight. Voices echoing darkness, where honesty dwells. Aaron drops knowledge, casting his spells. Feelings are fading, lost in the fray. If you can't handle it, step out of the way. It's a bitter pill, but he's done being nice. Had to say it, no holding back. Words like fire, igniting the track. Listen or leave it, your call tonight. Aaron's the storm, he's ready to fight. It's a bitter pill, but he's done being nice. Had to say it, no holding back. Words like fire, igniting the track. Listen or leave it, your call tonight. Aaron's the storm, he's ready to fight. So brace yourself tight, prepare for the quake. Aaron had to say it, the truth won't break. Yeah, the truth won't break.
I had to say, or else it would just go unsaid. Yeah, I had to say, or else it would just go unsaid. If you didn't get it from me, you'd hear it from some newsman instead. I may cuss and yell, but I know what I say is right. You know what, I will fucking yell, but I know what I say is right. So long as the world be fucking shit up, I'ma yell into this mic. Left or right, don't matter, I will call you on your shit. I said left or right, don't fucking matter, I will call you on your shit. If you decide that fucking up, the gorilla's gonna deal with it. Yeah, I had to say it, or else it will go unsaid. Yeah, I had to fucking say it, or else it would just go unsaid. If you didn't hear it yelled at the top of my lungs, you got fed a crock of shit instead.
podcast you are about to listen to contains at least one of the following: strong language, disturbing topics, abusive opinions, generally things that aren't appropriate for little kids or overly sensitive people. So, if any of that stuff's going to get your nose out of joint, this is your chance to turn it off.
It's Aaron, your favorite unfiltered mess. Spitting takes so raw, they'll make your grandma stress. Is this, that, and the other? Life, politics, the whole damn scene. Whatever crosses my mind, or whatever I saw on my screen. Ooh, movies to munchies, games to the grind. Interviews flowing, this is starting to sound like a date, ain't it? Dinner, drink, sports, wait, you buying? If not, tough luck, my opinion still flying. No script, no filter, just pure chaos bliss. I might offend your auntie or your therapist. Society's clown show, yeah, I'm ringing the bell. If it's stupid, it's sacred, well, it had to be said. What the hell? Buckle up, buttercup, the mic's getting reckless. I had to say it. Now, pass the tissues for the trigger.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of I Had to Say It. So we're going to start as we do by saying to Iceman Jason, Javier, Fitz McShane, El Jefe, El Devlin, El Morte, to the guys at the Weather Sold Media Group, to Kate, the Duchess of New Jersey, to Boomer Bob, to Billy G, to Josh from New Hampshire, to the folks at Clockham Craft Coffee, to Lisa, and last but not least, to George Fonts of the World of Blaze podcast. That's right, George, I actually shifted up the order to put you in the back because you're actually here in the live stream, and I wanted to change things up just because shits and giggle. Anyway, so I first off want to apologize for starting late. This is normally I start around 6 p.m. Central for the live stream. It is now 7:12, and there are a few reasons as to my tardiness. The primary one being I have stuff going on at work, and I had to deal with that, where I have a big catering thing going on, and I had to get all the work done for that before I could leave. But I still should have had plenty of time to make it home. But apparently some jackass in a semi-truck decided to take out a motorcycle and an SUV. And since I'm in the land of fuck Muppets and retards, the odds are actually better. This is camera's facing the wrong way. Here we go. The odds are better than even money that it was probably, a fucking illegal driving the goddamn thing who didn't speak English, didn't know what he was doing, and ran a SUV and a motorcycle off the fucking road. I'm pretty sure people are dead. I don't know. I was stuck in traffic. I don't have any actual news to the matter. We'll see what the actual story turns out to be in that case, because I, for one, am slightly curious. My curiosity is piqued. Not at all what I had intended to have my bitch session about today, but here we are, and that's the case. So I'm late. I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you for joining me. To the folks in the chat, to the people who are only catching this on the audio, and people who might have actually planned to catch the chat today, because a couple people actually asked me last week when the live streams were, and I told them 6 o'clock Central on Tuesdays, because that's usually when I go live, but I fucked it up. So, yeah. So if you're an audio listener and you're hearing this, I apologize if you tuned in for a live stream that wasn't there and you had to go on with your life, and then all of a sudden I went live an hour late. Shit happens. That's how life works. This will probably actually wind up being a slightly abbreviated episode just because, again, I have this big-ass catering to deal with tomorrow, so I can't stay up super duper late, or there'll just be a very unclean version getting live streamed or getting posted to the replay for the audio-only version because I won't have time to clean it up. It depends on how long I go and how sidetracked I get and how off course I go. Sorry, polishing off my little protein smoothie there just to cap off dinner that I wolfed down in about 6 bites after I got home so I could get in here and get started. Anyway, so there's like I said, other than the fact that I'm really waiting to find out, I'll update you guys when I find out what the circumstances behind the massive traffic jam and the potential fatalities were, because like I said, I hate seeing a motorcycle being all fucked up. And actually, I didn't even see it. I got a report from someone who's actually stuck in closer to where the accident happened, that there was a motorcycle and an SUV that got taken out by a semi truck. So we'll see if it was somebody that was driving when they shouldn't have been, somebody that's driving without a license, somebody that's driving that shouldn't be in this fucking country. I'm actually really interested to see what'll happen. I wish I could say these kind of fatalities are a very infrequent thing, but they're not, because I live in the land of Lincoln, where you don't have to be qualified to get a fucking job. We've actually had, like, people we've known have gotten killed by semi-truck drivers that had no business being behind the fucking wheel because they're reckless and stupid. So these things happen, unfortunately. It's a sad state of affairs. It's even sadder how frequently it happens here because of our completely irresponsible Secretary of State issuing licenses to anybody and everyone who just says they want to drive a truck. Can you read the street signs? No, you don't need to. That's okay. Here, have a license. I'm not a bigot. Don't call me a phobertanist. Fucking worthless sacks of shit Illinois politician motherfuckers. But anywho's, it's yeah. So that was really not what I was planning on coming on here and talking about. And for kind of a change, I was actually going to go into something that is fairly, like, it just happened. So it's not going to be a case of me rehashing something everybody else has talked about. It's just my thoughts on a matter that were actually, there's going to be a little bit unhinged ranting here, I feel. Hope that's not bothering anybody that's watching in the chat, but it's just bothering me. The camera's a little cockeyed. And Cody, yes, we'll be talking about that too. But no, the primary thing, and like I said, I'll get to the New England Nazi shortly here. But the biggest thing, the thing that's been rolling around in my head all fucking day, and and this is not a super recent thing, but it's a fairly recent thing, is fucking Mitch McConnell apparently had paramedics call. He's in the hospital. Apparently paramedics were called to his house. You keep hearing all these varying reports. It was a heart attack. It was a stroke. He's fucking brain dead. He's fucking fine. A lot of fucking GOP assholes are, I talked to him on the phone today and he was coherent and he was talking about this and he was talking about that. That motherfucker hasn't been coherent for 2.5 fucking years minimum. So anybody who's saying, I talked to Mitch on the phone and he sounds great, I don't fucking believe you. Now, there's all kinds of really weird, sussy shit that's been going on with this, like, the fact that old Mitch has been kind of MIA for a couple weeks any fucking way, and that's, neither here nor there. The guy's a fucking, the fucking tortoise of Kentucky really doesn't fucking matter to me in terms of, like, this cocksucker should have been gone a long time ago. I think he died 2 fucking years ago, and just, they've been weekend at Burnings his ass around it. His animatronics shorted out or some shit. But there are, legitimate concerns with the fact that he's been having like hard resets while he's out doing fucking public speaking issues. He's done, vapor locked on fucking camera multiple fucking times. And, everybody just keeps acting like that's fine. And they just keep letting him go about his merry fucking way. And it really, anybody if you're new to the show, guess what? I have a problem with fucking career politicians. All of them. If you're a longtime listener, you completely understand how I feel about every last one of those geriatric parasitic fucks that have made a living being fucking worthless. Mitch McConnell is no fucking exception to that rule. As a matter of fact, he's almost the archetype of this. He is the current, lead frontrunner for the right-wing fucking version of Dianne Feinstein. It's gonna take him being a fucking corpse to get him out of fucking office, and that's fucking disgusting to me. People that couldn't be hired as Walmart fucking greeters should not be making policy for the greatest country on the fucking planet. That's pathetic. The fact that we allow this to continue happening just says that we're failing as a population. We shouldn't be allowing this shit. But anyway, so it's a case of, old Mitchy boy is in the hospital. That much has been confirmed. Like I said, the right's saying that he's fine, that they've been talking to him, slightly more, you got the Alex Joneses and the other people that are sitting there saying, well, it's a case of, he's dead. It's all the conspiracy theorists are coming out that he's dead. It's, he's fucking brain dead. He's on life support. He's not breathing on his own. All kinds of shit. Like I said, personally, I don't fucking care. The guy's a piece of shit. He should have been out of office decades ago. He hasn't done anything useful or beneficial for the population of this fucking country other than be a fucking rhino piece of shit that obstructs every fucking bill that the Americans wants to pass. Like, they would probably prop him up with a fucking piece of fishing line to vote nay on the fucking SAVE Act, which I'm sure will make him happy when he's looking up from hell. So I can't stand the fucking guy. I generally don't actively wish ill on people that I don't think deserve it. I'm not going to try and pretend like I'm a good person or I'm not actively wishing horrible shit to happen to people on a very fucking regular basis, because I am. I wish bad things on people all the fucking time. It's probably why I don't have a better quality of life. Karma keeps me fucking low and humble because I'm just a horrible fucking human being. Every time I get behind the wheel, I'm a terrible fucking person. I fall farther from heaven every time I'm in traffic with other fucking retards. But he's a special case of fuck him in the ass with a fucking cactus. I really can't stand the worthless motherfucker. And oh my God, he's in the hospital. No shit. He's been a fucking animated corpse for the last 2 fucking years. But again, I digress. That's not the point. The point about it is, I really think we need, term limits and fucking restrictions and age limits. And I think you should not be making policy if you'll be dead before the fucking ramifications of your policies strike home. I don't think you should be setting the course for the country when you don't know where the fucking bathroom is without an aide walking your ass there because you're fucking senile. I don't think these fucking geriatric shit stains should be fucking anywhere. I just, that's not news. I don't think these old motherfuckers should be holding the reins of the country. I've never have. I'm not going to harp on it too much. It's just, that's the thought that's been rolling around in my head all day when I wasn't thinking about all the shit I had to be thinking about for work. So beyond that, here, I'm going to take the headphones off. Just, they're not really very comfortable for long periods of time. And since there's no reason, it's not like I'm listening to a guest or having a conversation with anybody or even picking up audio cues on shit. It's just me being me. So, I lost my train of thought all of a sudden. I'm sorry. Here it is. See, I got a little color. My head's all pink. But yeah, so that was like the big like, holy shit, here's a moment. Now, when Mitchie boy wound up in the fucking hospital, his doting and loyal, loving wife immediately hopped a jet and went to fucking China to have a meeting with somebody. So, makes you kind of wonder, yeah, no conflict of interest there at all, I'm sure. And, since he's been a doddering, geriatric, senile, constantly having the fucking Windows logo circle spinning every time he fucking tries to get in front of a microphone to try and say something piece of shit that he is. Yeah, I'm sure, she wasn't running off with a whole bunch of unsecured information that she had no business having her eyes on to go talk to China for any fucking reason. Nothing suspect about that at all. Which also makes me think his condition is a lot worse than the Republicans are letting on to, because if she didn't feel the need to hang around, or maybe she thought she was getting out ahead of the fucking curve, or maybe she was just making sure she could get out with whatever she was getting out with. None of that speaks volumes for his, state of health. None of that makes it sound like he's doing real great. But again, that could just be, the paranoia and the conspiracy theorist in me. But, yeah, so, but that's kind of like I said, the thoughts I keep coming back to are, this is why we need term limits. It should not be a case of the only way we get these motherfuckers out of office is on a fucking slab. It's problematic at best and fucking retarded at worst. And I lean towards retarded. I think we're stupid for fucking allowing it. I think the American people really need to start, getting up off their lazy fucking entitled, spoiled, fucking sedated asses and actually holding these cunts to the fucking fire. They need to be held accountable. They need to realize we don't need geriatric motherfuckers running the show. We don't need people that are going to be dead before the impact of their policies come to light. We need people that are actually going to be invested. We need people that realize it's a fucking, it's a responsibility, it's a duty, it's not a fucking career to make yourself rich and make your family rich and make your fucking worthless parasite relatives rich and make your fucking friends rich. It's the American ideals were founded on amazing ideas, and they got corrupted so quickly, and as over the years it's just gotten worse because the people that are in charge are the corrupt motherfuckers, and they just keep making it easier for the corrupt motherfuckers to stay there. And I keep coming back to the things I keep saying, like, yeah, it's, I don't know if we're going to actually be able to vote our way out of this one, folks. Well, that rings true with a lot of things. And it's like they say, it's real easy to vote communism in, but you can't, you have to shoot your way out of it. And unfortunately, that's been proven by history all over the fucking world. And we still have the fucking smooth-brained fucking college-educated retards here that are just rallying around trying to bring this leftist horse shit into play everywhere they fucking go because they're fucking stupid, whiny, lazy, jealous, entitled pieces of shit. And fuck them. I hate them all. And I say all that to lead into the next thing I want to talk about, which is a case of the, like I said, the New Hampshire Nazi, Graham Plantier, is now there's been another scandal. He's now got another woman that came forward and accused him of raping her. And, it seems pretty credible based on a lot of things, including his history and the fact that he has a big fucking death's head tattooed on his chest that he got covered up. I wonder if he'll be able to get it uncovered now that he's being pressured to drop out of the race, because apparently that was the fucking bridge too far, the straw that broke the camel's back for all these fucking commie fucking retards that had been endorsing him wholeheartedly. And it's been really entertaining from where I sit to watch the case of how do I put this interestingly? They're actively like trying to scrub their social media accounts to pretend like they weren't endorsing him wholeheartedly because, like I said, apparently this is a bridge too far. Bernie and fucking, God, what's his name? The one I'm always calling dipshit on Twitter. I mean, I know that doesn't sound like it narrows it down, but it's one of the politician clowns that literally every time he makes a post, I make a point of addressing him as a dipshit. It's kind of like fuck Muppet for my governor. It's just my particular term of disrespect for that particular individual, and it's driving me nuts because he's such a fucking chode, and I can't think of who it is now. Anyway. But anyway, yeah, so it comes out that, now another woman's come forward, and basically what she is saying is that, yeah, no, when they were dating, he came over, broke into their house, and raped her when she didn't want to have sex with him. And the only reason she is coming forward now is because of how the previous accusations were handled and basically astroturfed by the fucking media to try and make it seem like nothing fucking happened. Because it's... and she's like, well, I didn't want to say anything because I agree with his politics, not his person. And I'm like, how fucking dumb. I mean, it's a sign of where we're at in our society, where this broad will sit on the fact that he raped her because she didn't want to see his political opponent get into office. And the only reason she came forward is because the other girl who came forward with accusations was just run into the fucking ground by the fucking media and by other politicians and all these other clowns trying to say it's fake accusations and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, he raped me too. He's a piece of shit. I wasn't going to say anything because I didn't want his opponent to win, which basically the GOP candidate in his district is basically a Democrat any fucking way. So it's really not that big of a difference. It's just... The thing that I get hung up on that particular piece of shit is the initial accusation wasn't enough for them to fucking, turn him down. All of the fucking improprieties and bullshit that he was accused of weren't enough for them to say, you know what, that's not it. The actual death's head tattoo on his chest, the quoting that he understood Nazis, the sympathizing with Islamic terrorists that he did publicly, being a publicly avowed communist, None of those were deal breakers for the fucking Democratic left, for the Democratic Party. None of those things were enough for AOC and Bernie Sanders and all these other fucking chud fucking assholes to just to say, no, you know what? Maybe that's not the guy we should fucking run. They only pulled their support when it looked like he was no longer a tenable candidate because the scandals were just too fucking much, where even the mainstream media couldn't cover it up any fucking more, where they couldn't run any more goddamn interference. All the other horrific, just repugnant shit about this cocksucker was not a deal breaker. It was the additional accusation of a woman who literally came forward and said, I didn't say anything because of his politics, but now I'm saying something because the other woman he did this to was completely treated like shit by the machine. Yeah, and it's just, all the usual suspects, and all the leftist retards. I don't understand it. It's not a deal breaker for them. It's just and it's just ridiculous. Now, to address a couple other things that, just kind of briefly, over the last, since our last episode, we've had the 4th of July here, America's 250th birthday, the celebration of the anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, where we told Britain to go get fucked. And then, I love those things where it's like, the British tried to take our guns and we shot them. And, that's one of those things I like. It's a fun little sentiment. It's a case of a lot of shit happened and a lot of people were, Trump's at the weather was a bitch. I mean, it's depending on where you were, it was either super fucking hot or stormy. It was a case of just ridiculous shit happening. Excuse me. So it's a case of a lot of things happened, but in D.C., of course, Trump's got to have the biggest, most beautiful, the biggest, the wonderfulest fucking fireworks display ever. World record-setting fireworks, second biggest firework ever set off on the planet. The first one was outside of Hiroshima. But anyway, so what they did was they launched something like 850,000 fucking fireworks at the White House celebration in D.C. and it was pretty fucking epic. And they, people were doing flyovers and jets and all this other stuff. And, a lot of people, very patriotic stuff. A lot of retarded motherfuckers and smaller scale stuff. And, it's the people that, you still just have all these miserable motherfuckers that are out here. And one of the things that happened is the Kami Mandami in fucking New York comes out and tries to give a speech from behind the Washington desk, which is, George Washington's old desk. The fucking retard sat on the wrong side of the desk, which is, very indicative of somebody who's never actually had to have a real job in their life, because this fucking foreign-born sack of shit commie Islam motherfucker is stupid. And he's, tries to give this extremely divisive speech talking about how American values, all the people that are racist saying they don't apply to people that because of how they look, and basically all the usual commie talking points of, just driving division. And while they're driving this fucking division, trying to say it's the other side fostering division because they don't want to be welcoming. They don't want to let people live according to their own values in this land of the free. So it's only free if you're white and straight and blah, blah, blah. Literally every fucking brain dead leftist talking point in a speech that essentially said you should welcome invaders into your country and allow them to live according to their own values rather than demanding they assimilate. And if you demand they assimilate to the culture they move to, you're a bigot, you're a racist, blah, 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 blah. Fuck you commie retard goat fucking sack of shit. I hope you die in a fucking farm accident when something sneaks up on you and fucks you in the ass instead of the other way around. Worthless sack of shit. And yeah, so that happened. Trump came out, gave his big, beautiful speech. I didn't listen to it. I'm not going to try and pretend like I did. I don't care. I spent the 4th of July floating in the pool and cooking in the garage because we got storms. Meanwhile, up and down the East Coast, people were dealing with record heat waves, and the Kami Mandami was talking people to say, let's all set our air conditioners at 80 degrees because we have to avoid the strain on the power grid, because otherwise you will be having rolling brownouts and blackouts and blah 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 blah. So already the commies are starting to try and ration shit like electricity. Now, when it comes to that, the biggest thought I have about it is these are the same retards that want you to get rid of your car and buy an electric vehicle and take public transport that will also be electric if they have anything to say to it. But the grid can't sustain things. The fucking power they need to do it is getting more and more expensive because they keep expecting people to buy into this green scam bullshit. They've shut down, mothballed pretty much every nuclear reactor in the fucking state. So instead of, updating the grid and going with the cheapest, cleanest, most eco-friendly power source on the planet, they decide they want to fucking, be retarded. That's what it is. They are fucking trying to turn into Cuba, where it's a case of, the elite have their electricity and everybody else has jack shit, and it's just, It's ridiculous to me. I can't stand a bunch of these different things. So yeah, I don't know. I really, I don't have, I'm at the point where I'm done trying to, even pretend there's any way you can coexist with people like this. You really can't. I mean, people who demand your absolute subservience to their beliefs, their wills, their ideals, while giving up nothing of themselves, that will subsequently tell you you're hateful for not wanting to go along with their horse shit. I'm done trying to pretend that they're even people at this point. I've said it a lot of times before, half joking, but I really mean it. Communists aren't fucking people as far as I'm concerned. I don't have any sympathy for them. I don't have any patience for them. I don't have any desire to fucking coexist with them. I want to see them just die in a fire. Pinochet was right. The only good communist is the one they throw out of a fucking helicopter. Wow, I just got really morose all of a sudden. I'm sorry for that. It's probably just from spending too much time sitting in traffic. So anyway, that's really kind of all the thoughts that are rolling around in my head right now. Don't have much to mind. I guess I will take a gander over at the chat, since I will have to see if anything is being said. Let's see, mostly Cody and Shauna. So let's see. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Liz Warren, Rokana. Oh, yeah, talking about the people trying to backpedal on Planter. Palantir, whatever the fuck his name is. Hassan Piker trying to pretend like he didn't support him yet. No, Hassan Piker's a fucking retard. I can't stand that shit. Let's see, what else? Cody watched fireworks. That's cool. Wifey pointed out that our house did not almost catch on fire. Quit being melodramatic. Let's see. Cody said Bay City, Michigan. Spent nearly an hour launching it. It was pretty epic. That's cool. Piker said on the side of the desk, because we're George Washington, and Kami's an invader. Yeah, you couldn't be more right with that. I'm sure it was unintentional, but anyway, yeah, communism is an existential threat to America. True. George says, fuck the DSA. Yeah, the Democratic Socialists of America, they're commie retards. I hate them all. They're stupid. Ken says, Mandami's a tool. Yes, he is. He's a fucking big blue vein fucking dildo. He's not a real cock. He's not a real anything. Let's see. Caleb Hammer episode with Doomsday, blue-haired 25-year-old corporate finance specialist communist who's something. Yeah. I'm sure it's, well, I'm actually not a huge fan of Caleb Hammer for my own reasons. Part of which being like the fact that he's made an entire career out of just telling people you're fucking retards. I tell people they're retards all the time and nobody's paying me for it. But that may just be my petty jealousy. But yeah, it's a whole, oh yeah, something else I wanted to talk about. I just popped back into my head. for if you're living under a fucking rock, there's these things called flock cameras, right? Now, what flock cameras are is they're basically police state surveillance setups that are spreading all around the country. And now it's a private entity that sets these cameras up and then sells their services to the state, to governments. Statists' wet dream, literal 1984 Orwellian bullshit. Flock cameras are an infringement on on your Fourth Amendment rights, and probably I think somebody was saying the 14th Amendment as well. And they're horrific things. And one of my favorite things about theirs, there's a meme going around saying that you need to start telling your local tweakers that every flock camera has 3 grams of platinum to 3 grams of gold, 1 gram of platinum, 3 grams of gold, and 3 pounds of copper. It's because, that way tweakers will start stealing them. I've been talking about these surveillance things for a while, and last time I talked about the surveillance state, I said everybody should. I'm usually not one for endorsing the actions of Brits because they're a conquered people, but one thing they did have right is they have the Blade Runners, which are guys that are going around cutting down similar surveillance cameras in Britain, and there's you can look it up on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube or any of that stuff, where you'll find all kinds of shorts of them basically saying like, oh, hey, you know what? This blade will actually cut through one of these pipes in 3 minutes. So there's that. And then people are saying, if you get the right frequency of a laser pointer, you can burn out the lenses on them, which is, I would never say to do that because they're private property of the company that runs the flock camera system, and destroying them or burning them out would be wrong. That would be morally wrong for you to point a laser at the lens from across the street and burn the cameras out. And if you're doing it, you would never want to do it wearing loose, baggy clothes, so you're not very easily identifiable with potentially a mask or long sleeves to cover your body, so it making you harder to identify. That would be morally incorrect, and that would be a bad thing to do, because that company has a right to install cameras and invade your privacy because reasons. I don't fucking understand why, but. Yeah, I like I said, so there's these flock cameras, and they're all over the fucking country. There's actually a website you can look at that's like DFlock, I believe it is. I'm gonna find it and I'll stick the link in the show notes that will show you a map of all the current locations of flock cameras. And now I drive past 3 of them on my way to work every day, which is irritating to me. But ironically enough, I live far enough outside of the Chicago metro area that there are actually none in my town. So that makes me feel a little bit better for the time being. Now, as much as I can't stand a huge portion of the people that live in this town because they're either Chicago transplants or just weak-minded retards, who are like, blue no matter who and blah, 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 blah. That might be a bridge too far for the fucking, watered down redneck assholes that I live around, because I'm pretty sure the flock cameras would not make it in this fucking town, and I'm okay with that. I may hate everything most of these assholes believe in and stand for, but if they're going to be out there cutting down the cameras, I'm okay with that. Now, and that's been happening. It's been happening all over the country. There was a case in Texas of some guy that's been cutting down cameras and leaving American flags as a calling card after he cuts them down, and the police are looking for clues or help or tips to find this individual, and thus far, oddly enough, no one has come forward to narc on the individual who's been doing it. Now, that's not to, and other people have been doing it. There was another case, I forget where it is, but of a kid who cut down 3 different flock cameras, was hanging up American resistance flags. I think it was American Resistance. It was an older American flag, and he's hanging them up, to make a statement as to why he's cutting down these cameras. But he got caught, and they're looking at giving him 18 years for cutting down 3 fucking surveillance cameras, plus, court fees and all this other shit. And I think he has to pay restitution to the fucking corporation, which is absolutely horse shit. So if you're actually one of the people that thinks those flock cameras are a good thing, I hate you. You're a retard. I hope you fucking never breed. I hope you fucking give yourself a redneck circumcision by kicking your sister in the jaw. I hope you fucking, I hope your shoes are always a half a size too small. I hope you have fucking sand in your fucking Vaseline. I hope your fucking asshole chafes. You suck. But yeah, so the flock camera thing really kind of irritates me. But like I said, there's all things said and done, there's about $700 worth of precious metal in those fucking things. You know, I'm not saying, you know, not saying it's necessarily, you know, anything anybody should do. And I'm not saying if you do it using a Red Devil Sawzall blade, multi-metal Sawzall blade will saw through the post in 3.5 minutes. I'm not saying that that's something anybody should do. I'm not saying that you should, like I said, wear loose fitting clothing so you're harder to identify. That would be wrong. I'm not saying pretend you're a leftist and wear a mask while you're doing it. It's just, you know, it's a case of, you know, do with that information what you will. And let's see. Other than that, I don't really. Let's see. Back to the chat. Let's see. Sean says, well, what charges? Destruction of private property, which is funny because one of the controversial things about the Flock Camera Company is they've been repeatedly, you know, called to the woodshed about installing their cameras on private property without the owner's permission. And then they either, you know, cities and states have been coming to their defense using things like eminent domain and declaring those areas public property and doing all kinds of fucking underhanded horse shit to enhance violating your rights. Now, that's you know, and it's the world we're living in these days. The surveillance state. They got all the fucking, you know, cops using fucking drones to break down doors and shit like that for surveillance. Times are changing. They're changing fast. All we can do is try and deal with it. I mean, look out for each other. Take care of yourselves. Plan. Train. Be safe. Be careful. No recipe this week because I didn't have time to figure it out before I got home and my brain has been elsewhere. I'll go check the chat again, see if anybody's else got anything that they think I should have a thought on. Oh, by the way, another thing I want, while I'm thinking of it, the return of Random Thoughts with George and Manuel is back on the table here. My buddy George and his brother doing random coverage on different topics, different talking and shit. They live stream it on Thursday nights. You should definitely check it out. It's good shit. They're entertaining as hell. I appreciate their dynamic. It's quality show. You guys should be watching it. Let's see. Ken says buy guns and buy old cars built pre-2000. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Oh yeah, there's another thing. You know, the U.S. Supreme Court did agree to hear cert on the Illinois assault weapons ban. So that's, I mean, it probably won't be till next year, but you know, there's a good chance I can get my guns back. So yay me, because unfortunately it doesn't look like we'll be leaving this shithole state anytime soon. Oh yeah, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is when George's other show goes live for the stream. You guys go over to I'm going to put the link to that in the show notes too. But if you're on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, go over there and give them a follow, or Rumble, or any other platforms, George. I'm sure there are, but my brain's not braining real good right now. Let's see. Shauna says, get a generator too. Yeah, that's good advice. We have a generator. They're good to have. We get a multi-fuel one, so you can hook it up to natural gas in case it's just a case of the power going out, or a case of you can have propane or gasoline. They're great to have, because that way, no matter what you're sitting on, you'll be able to keep your fucking food cold at least. We got one big enough to run 3/4 of the house, so. Because Aaron might be a little paranoid. George says Aaron with assault weapons with a laughy emotion. Yeah, I'm sure certain people would probably be horrified to know that. Yes, Aaron has possessions of quote unquote assault weapons. Now I hate the term assault weapons because it's really something a lot of people that, you know, the gun grabbers use it because it sounds big and scary, but it's really a misnomer, because if I hit you with a fucking brick,
That's an assault weapon. You've been assaulted with a brick. I hate having an assault brick. Now, to scare the liberals, I guess it would have to be a black brick with, some tactical rails on it or something, but that's still an assault weapon. Anything you assault someone with is an assault weapon by definition. It's just to me, that term is infuriating. Plus, I'll be perfectly honest, I'm probably more dangerous without like rifles with detachable magazines, which is what everybody means when they say assault weapon as a general rule, ARs and AKs and things with box magazines that hold more than 10 rounds, which is what the Californians and the fucking Illinois people seem to think that's the magic number where, then now it's compliant, it's safer, but we're still allowing you to have your guns, but you can't reload them as fast. And fucking brain dead drivel coming out of fucking people that seem to think, well, what we do is if we disarm all the law abiding citizens, the criminals will have to stop. You fucking retards. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I've had this conversation before. I don't remember which. I went on somebody's podcast and was talking to him, and I literally, because the subject of gun control came up, and I was like, I'm actually just as dangerous going into a fucking Home Depot as I am going into a fucking gun shop. If anything, I'm actually probably capable of causing more chaos, death, and destruction spending $500 at the fucking hardware store than I am spending $500 on one used fucking rifle. Because, I actually... Here's a little inside baseball for Aaron. I don't generally buy brand new weapons for myself. I did when I was younger and had more disposable income, because once upon a time, Aaron actually had a lot more money than he does now and had a lot less responsibilities and commitments, because I wasn't married and didn't have a kid or a family or anybody else to think about but myself. But I had 2 full-time jobs and I had a lot of expensive fucking hobbies. That's when I used to buy new firearms. Now I generally go to the used case at the gun store I go to, because at my local gun store, they're actually phenomenal about screening the used weapons. And if it's a piece of shit, they won't sell it. And if it's like, I've bought multiple guns from my local gun shop out of the used case that, somebody brought them in and sold them. As often as not, it's because the person who owned them went tits up and just decided to sell them, or their kids didn't want to keep them, or they, they came on hard times and had to sell off part of their collection and they just liked buying them. And I bought like my EDC, my everyday carry pistol, at least until I can get a holster made for the one I won. Because it doesn't fit in any standard holsters. I would actually love to carry it because it's a full size as opposed to a compact. My EDC right now is a compact that I bought at my local used gun shop that was a used gun, sold as used. Literally never had a fucking round fired through it prior to me buying it. And there are things you can look for, places on the gun where bluing wears off, friction marks on the barrel. I mean, the barrel was spotless. The slide didn't have any scratches or marks on it or any signs of wear. The thing if it had been fired, it was probably less than 100 rounds through it in its lifetime prior to coming to me. It's had a lot more through it since then, but yeah, so I forgot where I was going with this. Oh yeah, but yeah, no, so Aaron doesn't buy new guns. So if I go and I buy a gun at the gun store, I mean, just due to my current financial situation and me not having the money to go out and buy all the ridiculous shit I actually want, all the things I would love to have, it's probably, a gently loved shotgun here, a slightly worn pistol there. Yeah, no, actually, I did get Shauna a 357 from there. It's a, how do I put this? It's new. That was actually a new gun. Yeah, that's what I was groping for, is I bought Shauna a brand new 357 revolver from there. She loves it. She shoots it. Let's see. As a contractor, George always has an interrogation kit in his vehicle. Yeah, that actually seems to fit very well. Ken says EDC is a Hellcat, small frame, accurate for its size, 17 rounds. Yeah, I almost bought a Hellcat when they came out. I bought some raffle tickets to try and win one, but I lost. Actually, my EDC is a Springfield as well, but it's not a Hellcat. It's it's a SDX, which, you know, a lot of people talk shit about it, but, you know, whatever. It's solid. It's reliable. It does the job. Let's see. Going to Meat and Peace. That's a stainless steel Ruger DC 9745. That's a lovely pistol, Ken. That's a nice thing. Lost my train of thought again. Cody says, as far as anyone's concerned, he doesn't own any weapons, but it's act on that at your own risk. Yeah, that's a fair point. But anyway, like I was saying, the big thing about it is, like I said, I can go in the gun shop, drop $500, buy one gun, you know, maybe some accessories, a couple extra mags, some ammunition, and maybe go out and, let's see, Hellcat Pro is Bill's EDC. So that, yeah, so we got two for the Hellcats. That's, like I said, I wouldn't mind getting one. I'm just not in a fiscal position at the moment to drop the coinage on it. I actually want to get a Canic with the one they have with the built-in compensator on it. I heard it shoots amazingly. But and for the price, you know, it's you can come in under $1,000 with a built-in comp and a friggin' hollow sight on it. So I would not mind getting one. Like I said, I heard the trigger brakes on it. Brake is on it is amazing, and it's a short reset, so you can shoot it a lot faster and a lot cleaner. And it's got good tight groupings because of the compensation built into it. But that's neither here nor there. And the thing is, I'm a big guy, so I could actually get away carrying full size concealed. It's just. But like I said, I love the pistol I won from Harvey's last year. It just I have not been able to find a holster that fits it, that isn't like a generic loose holster. So I need to get I'm actually talking to a guy on the internet that makes custom holsters, and it's a little spendy, but it's worth the money as far as I'm concerned, because it means I'll be able to go from carrying a Palsy 9 rounds to a full size 15. So that'll be good for me. Because for some odd reason, even though 17 is a standard for a full-size mag, in Illinois, you're only allowed to have 15 rounds in your fucking magazines, which really sucked when I won that fucking SIG last year, because it came with 21-round magazines I couldn't fucking have. And I had to buy magazines for it, and I had to take the magwell off of it, because the standard size Illinois magazines don't fit with the fucking magwell on it. But, you know, but it's a SIG, so I'm not carrying it because I don't want to shoot my own dick off. I mean, and that's not, you know, not to say SIG doesn't make some fine firearms, but because they do, but the SIG I won was an MX-18, which is the military version of the SIG P320, which, if you're unaware of gun lore, is the one that goes off and shoots by itself, you know, and, you know, but it was free. So I'm going to take it to the range the next time I go, and I'm going to see how it shoots and see how I like it. And then I'm going to be sad that I can't carry it. And it has an optic on it, which is actually, I really do like SIG's optics. They're pretty good. And then, yeah, so that's, well, a lot of unexpected gun chat in this conversation today. But yeah, so anyway, like I said, if I could go into a hardware store, spend $500 and throw something together that could kill 200 or 300 fucking people if I put it in the right place. And, yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. Bill says Washington limit is 10 rounds. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It is. And that's a shame. I'm sorry for that. That's, hence the Panic Hellcat purchase some years back. Yeah. I can understand that. That's, that seems to happen a lot of places. All of a sudden, you know, somebody makes a law, and all of a sudden the panic shopping starts, and all of a sudden shit I really like gets way more fucking expensive. But that's life. Because, you know, the funny thing is, you know, whether it's $800 or $1,000, I'm not buying it either way because I'm a poor. So I mean, I'm working on not being a poor anymore, but that's not finished yet. So I'm a poor right now. Yeah, M&P Shield Plus at the same time. That's a nice piece too. Yeah, Shauna likes wheel guns. I keep trying to get her to switch over to a semi-automatic, but she's stubborn. She likes her wheel guns. But you know, what can you do? I'm not forcing it on her. That's one thing that drives me nuts.
since we're going to talk gun stuff, if you ever look on social media in the gun circles, a lot of the older FUD type guys, they always suggest women start out with revolvers, and because they don't have the hand strength to work a slide, which is A, it's horseshit, B, it's condescending, and C, it's dangerous thinking. But Shauna likes a revolver, so she can have revolvers. I'm not gonna argue with her on it. That makes her happy. She can have it. And then I take her to the range, and we put the silhouettes up, and she always shoots it in the dick. I'm like, that I'm never pissing her off that bad. That's just my personal my personal way of looking at things is I'm not gonna piss her off because she'll shoot me in the dick. But anyway, like I said, that's really all about I got at the moment. Since I've been going back and forth with the chat here for the last 10 minutes. Let's see. Cody likes freedom. I like freedom too, buddy. Leaves GSR. Yeah, it's true. It's a thing. I mean, to be fair, everything leaves GSR. You got to plan ahead. Funny you should say that, Ken. I actually almost bought a 454 Casull years and years and years ago. My I actually my very first handgun that I bought for myself. Story time with Aaron. Very first handgun that I bought for myself. I bought a Raging Bull, which was a revolver by Taurus, because I liked it and it just made me laugh. And it came in 454 Casull, and I talked myself out of buying it because at the time 454 Casull rounds were like $1.15 a round. And I could get the exact same gun chambered in 44 Magnum, which at the time was like 50 cents a round. So I bought the 44 Magnum with a 9.5-inch barrel. I still have that gun to this day. It lives in the safe. Even when I offloaded most of my collection when I moved to Illinois, because I didn't want to admit I was moving to Illinois, and I gave some to family to take care of. I sold some to, scrape some stuff together, and it's anyway, yeah, point being, I had a couple of really nice pistols. I had an HK pistol that I love and I regret getting rid of. I should have never sold it, but yeah, so I almost bought the 454, but I always kept the 44 Magnum because, like I said, that was the first gun that was my 21st birthday present to myself. It was the first legal handgun I purchased. It was a thing to hang on to. And like I said, it's still in the safe. It still gets to come out and play every once in a while. Still works as good as the day I bought it. It was a lot of fun. I used to take it to the range and fuck with people with it because it's got a compensated barrel. It's ported, so it doesn't kick very much. When I was young and in very good shape, I used to shoot it one-handed all the time. And it's one of those things, it's loud as shit. So everybody in the range stops to look and see what that is. And I used to go to the range when I worked night shift. I would go in the morning, and there were a couple of Indian fellas that were always there on Friday mornings when I would go there. And they were always shooting at a target that was like 8 feet away from the rail. And they were using this little janky piece of shit 9mm. And after a little while, I wound up striking up a conversation with them because I'm a friendly guy and I talk to people. And when I see the same people week in and week out, I always wind up going, you know what? I'm going to go introduce myself. So I go over and I start talking to these two guys. I was just like, look, I can't help but notice you guys are, shooting at your little target, and it's really, you're not shooting very far and your gun's kind of a piece of shit. What's the deal? And I can't make this shit up because at the end they tell me, oh, well, we run this, we run the gas station down the street here and we got robbed. So we bought a gun so we could protect ourselves. And that's about how far it is from the cash register to the door. And,
you know, I laughed so fucking hard when they told me that. I was like, Jesus Christ, could you guys be any more of a stereotype? They're actually really nice guys. And I was like, well, I notice you guys always looking when I'm shooting my revolver. You want to, you know, give her a try? And you're like, oh no, I can't. That's too big and blah, 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 you know. And I'm like, it's not that bad. I promise, you know, these are wad cutters. They barely kick at all. They're cheap, you know. And, so I wind up talking to them, and I talk them into, you know, shooting it. And I put the target farther down range, and they're like, well, no, you know, that's too far. And I'm like, no, trust me, that this gun is, you need to shoot distance with that. You don't want to shoot it up close. And, you know, they both squeezed off a cylinder of rounds, you know, 6 and 6. And they thought it was pretty cool and blah, blah, blah. And then just me, because I'm a smartass, I bring the target back to where they were shooting it and, you know, drop one shell in, or roll the cylinder, close it up, pull the hammer back. I said, you want to know why you don't shoot at something that close with this kind of gun? And I hold it up and I pull the trigger, and it literally just like vaporized the whole fucking target, because it was just that much kinetic energy at that close of a range, and just turned it into fucking confetti. It was fucking hilarious. They just about shit. Good dudes, though. And then, you know, I let them try a couple of my pistols, and they actually did wind up buying a better quality 9mm to keep under their register. So that was fun. Let's see. Ken says his daughter has a purple AR. Shauna hates pink. I could attest to that. You want to piss her off? No quicker way to do that than give her something that's pink. Ken's wife also hates pink. Ken's buddy had a gold-plated 50 cal Desert Eagle. He got a shell popped out of it and split him in the forehead. It was awesome. Yeah, that's kind of fucking awesome. You're right. I mean, I've actually never really been one for like the Gucci guns, the shiny, the. I mean, I like a nice nickel plated whatever, but at the end of the day, I, you know, prefer the matte black. It's just more my aesthetic, my vibe, my thing. Trying to think, like, how many firearms do I have that don't meet that? Probably just the one that like I said, the one I'm trying to get a holster for. And that one is actually, it's kind of funny because it's a case of, like it's basically, it's a Glock clone. It's a striker fired pistol, made by Great Lake Firearms, but it's actually kind of cool because it's kind of blocky. I like the aesthetics of it. I like the way it feels in my hand, but it's like shark skin gray on the body of it. And it's obviously it's not a black gun. It's got a black slide, but the body of it's gray. Excuse me. And I think it looks pretty fucking cool. And, yeah, that's all I really got to say about that. Anybody else got anything they want me to touch on? Last call. Trying to wait patiently because I know there's lag. But... It's kind of funny. I'm actually watching my own live stream too, so I can get a rough idea where we're at in terms of time. So I'm not cutting you guys off when I say I'm going to give you a couple minutes and then I don't, because my sense of perception is not lining up with y'all's. All right. Well, oh, I missed this earlier. Bill said you don't have to work the slide with one in the pipe. That's true. You don't. And, if you're one of those people that carries without one in the pipe, I'm not going to lecture you for it because... that's one of those, another gun circle contention thing is some people say that if you're not going to carry with one in the pipe, you'll be dead anyway because and it's like, if you're not comfortable with doing it, I mean, I would rather have you have a gun because, I mean, realistically, I mean, the likelihood of being in a quick draw situation is a little different. Little lower. I don't carry because I'm expecting that some crackhead's going to run at me with a knife and I'm going to have to draw real quick and plug them. I carry more because I'm worried that some asshole's going to start shooting someplace up and, I'll have time to draw down on the fucking guy. Or, just in the case of, as often as not, just a gun being introduced into the situation can be a deterrent. That's one of those statistics I never like to talk to you is about all the preventative situations where the gun was used as a deterrent without actually being fired. Gun grabbers will never give you those statistics, but they are real. Let's see. Ken said AOC should host a new Hollywood Squares show. I agree with Shauna. That would be fucking terrible. I mean, that is very random. Well thought, Ken. But no, I would not like to see AOC hosting anything other than fucking, Actually, I was going to say something very inappropriate, but I want to see her degraded. That's really what I want. I hate the fact that this casting call cattle case just gets to come out here, run her vapid fucking thoughts all over the fucking world, and tell people that it's just retarded that they want to be successful and keep their shit. That makes them selfish, bad people. I want that cunt to suffer for making me have to listen to her vapid, stupid shit, and for encouraging an entire generation to think that that dumb bitch actually knows something. So I want to see really humiliating things happen to her. I don't want her on Hollywood Squares. I want to see her getting sodomized with a fucking beanpole. That's not nice. That's a little bit much. Let's see. Carjackings. Yeah, Ken, that's... I have actually pulled a gun out in a car once. Not that I was getting carjacked. Well, sort of carjacked. When I was... I'm sure the statute of limitations on this is up. But, yeah, because when you're an Uber driver, they very specifically say in their terms of service you're not supposed to get armed. But I was constantly going into shit neighborhoods in Chicago, so I did have a friend with me when I was doing it. And one time I was in downtown Chicago after dropping off a fare at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning. And it was some stupid fucking teenage bitch getting dropped off at it had to be a fucking crack shack. But, whatever. I mean, I got paid, so I didn't care. I pulled over a couple blocks away so I could basically look up directions to how to get out of that shit neighborhood. And somebody came up and started banging on my window, and I kind of cracked it. I'm like, what? They're like, hey, man, get and I couldn't understand what the fuck he said. So I just reached into the console, pulled out my piece, tapped it on the fucking window, and the guy fucking fucked off. So that worked. Let's see. Cody says, just call the social worker. So tell me it's my fault for the crazy person assaulting me. Yeah, no, that's not how I deal with things. I mean, I've had a case of getting I've had people attempt to for what I look like and how big I am, it's kind of surprising the number of people who have tried to commit crimes against me. And I swear, I don't think I do anything that, gives out any vibes that say easy target, but apparently motherfuckers seem to think I'm the guy you want to try and rob. Let's see. How about AOC as Jamingo's handmade? Face purple, wide eyes, hand pink, waving. Oh, I think those are supposed to be emojis in there. Yes, AOC as Jamingo's handmade would be fine with me. I would actually endorse that. That would make me happy for John. That would be a good thing, because I'm sure she would hate every fucking minute of it, and that makes it that much better. And still sodomized with a cactus. I'm very serious about that. I want something pointy, crammed up her butthole. She sucks. I hate her. Vapid, empty-headed cunt, crazy-eyed commie bitch. I swear to Christ. She should be sterilized and then launched into the fucking sun, just for good measure. But to quote a friend of mine who may or may not be in the chat right now, when it comes to political minds, AOC's got great tits. And on that, I think we're going to put a pin in it and say, for now, that's what I had to say.